while discussing, several answers were talked about, but none could match or none could satisfy the test of expected or objectivity. So the example that I was giving you is that one of the examples was provision for doubtful debts. There's a difference between doubtful and bad. There are three categories of debt. You have debt which are good, like you expect 100% that they will pay. Those who are in the category of doubtful, whom you feel that they may not pay. And the third category, bad. The bad debts are those about which a final decision has been taken that they will no more pay. When we say no more pay, that means all the available options have been exhausted. You have exhausted all the options. What could be the options? You send them a polite reminder. You send one more, 2-3 more reminder. You send them a legal notice. They also go to the court, and court decides that these people have gone bankrupt. They are just not in a position to pay. Or you yourself think that this futile exercise to try getting money from them. So you finally decide them they are bad. So when you reach at this stage, bad debt, so they are no more expected, they are definite. But a situation where you think that they may not, there's a possibility that they can pay. So it is a loss that you expect. All right. So the example of yes.
So you also mentioned that about 3% of debt is.
I'll continue. I'm coming to that. Now, how do we decide that who will not pay? Isn't it? How do we decide that who will? Yes, I'm coming to that. How do we decide that who will and who will not pay? Had this been the case, we would not. Suppose we knew it that he will not pay, so we would not have sold them goods on credit. Okay. How do we decide this? Based on our historical data. A company has been in business for several years. When it concludes its business operations, when it prepares its financial statements, then it knows that out of 100 rupees that we should have received, we have received 97 only. That means 3%. I'm not talking the number of persons, I'm talking of the amount. Several people may owe us several amounts. A may be owing us 1 lakh rupees, B 10 lakh rupees, C 1 crore rupees, D just 20 rupees. There could be several people owing us different money. So we don't talk about number of persons, we talk about the amount. In all, last year so much should have been received, but we have received so much. So that means whatever percentage historically, every year on an average 2%, 3%, 4% amount it does not come through. So that percentage guides you, and every year you make a provision for doubtful debts. We call it RBDD, Reserve for Bad and Doubtful Debt. After 757, several people have joined, but they have not entered their roll number, last 3 digits of their roll number in the chat box. Kindly, after AFA, nobody has written. So kindly write. Let me check. Yes, now you have started. Last 3 digits of your roll number. Write it in the chat box. Just continue also, you also look at what you are mentioning in the, what was written in the chat, because it might have gone up. So let me come back to what we were discussing, that every year you make a provision, reserve for doubtful debts. Reserve for doubtful debts. Now, what are the examples of expected gains? Expected gains.
So, for example, we sold a property, but we weren't expecting to earn a profit on it, or a piece of machinery, and we weren't expecting to earn a profit or earn any money out of it. But we expected
any other example?
So, for example, we are walking down a road and we find a 50 rupee note.
Okay. So that you can expect any time. Is it a business related transaction as such? We may expect anything. And someone else?
For example,
some investment done.
the demand for certain products.
Demand for certain product, yes, demand for certain product. So how would you evaluate that? How much? 1%, 10 rupees, 3 rupees?
Yes, sir.
Specific reason?
In percentage.
Okay, we are discussing the example of expected gains. See, when you are into a business of production, for example, maybe even trading also, so on the last working day, we have lots of goods which remain unsold. Let us say one is into manufacturing business. So closing stock is there on 31st December or any date. Closing stock is there. The stock you have produced was for rupees 100, and usually you are selling it for 120. You have got 1 lakh units unsold on the day you are compiling your accounts. 1 lakh units unsold. You produce them at the rate of rupees 100, but you are selling them at rupees 140. So when you wish to, naturally on your balance sheet, you will not show number of units, you will show rupees. So this 1 lakh, you will multiply by 100 or 120.
100.
100.
100, so cost to company.
Cost to company. So this will be the reason for multiplying cost to company or any other reason.
Because
goods are unsold.
it's accounting standard 2, which is inventory, which says we have to measure stock on cost or net realizable value, whichever is lower.
Not but realizable value is 120. You can realize 120, isn't it?
No, sir, but whichever is lower.
Whichever, yeah, that is true. This is the correct one. Cost price or market price, whichever is lower. What is lower? 100.
100.
Suppose you have produced it for 100, but for some reason you are not able to sell it for 90. You have been selling it for 90, although you have produced it for 100. So in such a situation, you would record it for 90. Just 1 second, hold on. Has everybody entered so far, written their roll numbers? Last 3 digits. If someone has not written still, one can write. I have just Uwais has written in the last. All right. So now the cost price or market price, whichever is lower, is this we are doing in the light of this conservatism concept. So is the question clear now, or the issue clear now? That according to conservatism, we only write expected losses and we ignore expected gains. Is it fine? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then we go to the next one, which is matching. According to this concept, matching, revenue and expenses should be matched for the same time period. Revenue and expenses should be matched for the same time period. Now, periodicity concept we have already learned. What is it? Periodicity concept. Can you tell us?
So there should be two specific
Okay,
dates. There should be two specific dates. There should be a fixed time period where the financial accounts are created, and there should be consistency between the time period or the time period that we selected.
So now what matching is saying, that if you are counting your expenses from 1st January to 31st December, you have to calculate your revenue also for the same time. It should not so happen that you are calculating your revenues for 13 months and expenses for 12 months or vice versa. So number one, time period has to be the same for summation of expenses and revenue. Not only time period of 10 months or 12 months or 9 months, but also 2 different dates. All expenses should be counted, let us say, from 1st January to 31st December. So should be the case with revenues. All revenues should be counted from 1st January to 31st December. If you do not do so, either you will be inflating the profit or you will be underestimating the profit. So what is expected? That it has to be for the same duration and especially during the same time period which you have covered for expenses as well as for revenue. At times it happens that the transactions may not necessarily be coinciding with your accounting year. Take an example of insurance. But number one, assume that your accounting year is from 1st January to 31st December. Let us assume it that our accounting year is from 1st January to 31st December. You buy a car on 1st July. You buy a car on 1st July and you want to get it insured. So you have got it insured and you have paid premium for the entire year. The insurance company will not ask you to pay monthly or 6 monthly premium. Insurance company has provided you insurance of this car costing 12,000 rupees. So you have paid 12,000 rupees for the insurance. But what is the coverage of your car insurance cover? It is from 1st July to
31st June, 30th June of the other year.
correct 30th June of the next year. You are right. Now, if you include 12,000 rupees as your insurance cost, what you are doing? You are recording advance expenses, isn't it? Although the car's insurance will be applicable until 30th June of the next year, but if you record 12,000 rupees, that will be wrong. So what you should do? For how much amount should the insurance be recorded?
So 6 months.
6 months. 6,000 rupees. Suppose you record 12,000 rupees. What you would do? You will inflate your profit or you will underestimate your profit?
So we would underestimate our profit.
You will underestimate your profit by rupees
6,000.
because expenses should have been recorded 6, but you have recorded expenses by mistake 12. So you are understating your profit by rupees 6,000. There can be several other examples related to revenue as well as expenses. What is the rule? According to matching, there should be same time period for recording revenue and same time period for recording expenses. Otherwise, matching of the two will be incorrect. So this is what we mean by the word, matching, or by the concept matching. So we have, yes.
For example, like you said, the insurance is 12,000 and we are paying it monthly. But what if the company decides to pay it as a single payment?
We are not paying, perhaps you heard it wrong. We are not paying monthly, we have paid it annually. Had it been a monthly payment, then every month whatever is paid, we would have recorded. There would have been no issue of recording.
So if it is paid annually, then the amount has gone from the same financial year, right? So why are we recording it afterwards?
Okay, amount has gone in the same financial year, but the benefit of this amount will be available to us in the next financial year also. So we should record it to the extent of benefits are available in this year only. Isn't it? You have got your car insured for 12 months. The benefit of 6 months will be available in this month and benefit of another 6 months will be available in the next accounting year. If you record the entire thing, means we have recorded expenses more than what you should have. You will not be matching revenue and expenses correctly. Okay, let us take one more example. Electricity bill. Suppose you have received electricity bill for 2 months. 2 months electricity bill you have received. One is December and one is January. And you are closing your account in the month of December. So when you receive bill in the month of January, at the end of January, but you were closing your account on 31st December, so you will not record, you should not record the entire bill in the next accounting period. Half of it should be recorded in this accounting period, half of it should be recorded in the next accounting period. The expenses are to be matched with the revenue. So this is what the matching concept is.
So what if I book ticket on 25th of December and travel to 5th?
We are
travel
coming to
5th of January?
that. We are coming to that in the next concept. We are coming to that. Okay. Any other question up to matching? All right. Then we come to the next concept, revenue recognition. Revenue recognition is the meaning of revenue are clear to you? We have already explained the meaning of revenue. The income that company receives in the form of sales, it is sales revenue. The doctor who charges consultation fee is revenue for him in terms of consultation fee. The insurance company which it receives premium, the premium in case of insurance company is revenue. So there are different names of revenue for different persons. Okay, can you name some more persons? Where the revenue?
Rent is a form of revenue.
For whom?
So for the landlady or the landholder.
Okay, let us say landlady. You will be happy if we say landlady. Okay. So how many extra flats you have, Anam?
So I don't have any right now. I just belong to my parents.
Okay, but let us hope you have several. All right.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
So for landlady or landlord, rent is a source of revenue. Any other name?
Sir, interest we get.
Interest you get is a source of revenue.
Sir, any gifts received?
Sorry?
Sir, any gift?
Gift?
Gift, sir. Gift.
Gift. Okay, gift is not the source of revenue. When you receive a gift, all right, can be revenue.
In previous class you also told about dividend as a revenue.
So somebody is saying something different. Can
Sir,
you?
dividend.
A dividend that you receive is a form of revenue. Correct.
Sir, discounts on products,
Discount
that can be
received-
revenue.
Discount received is a revenue.
So donation as well.
Eh? Donation.
It's a donation.
Donation is a source of revenue. What I was saying, the name of this inflow is different for different persons. What I receive as a revenue is called as
Salary.
A salary. If I was working on commission basis, the commission that I would have received would have been called as
Commission.
Revenue, and the name is commission. Yes. Anything else? Any other?
Sir, I have a question.
Licensing fees, correct? Royalty.
Like school charge.
Somebody was asking a question.
Sir, I have a question. Like
Ratika, yes.
so we buy materials.
Ratika explain, then Sabiha can ask.
So we buy materials on different products on different e-commerce sites that provides us huge discounts. So these sites are procuring material from different vendors. Also, like we apply coupons, then also we get discounts. So I have a question, like how these companies generate revenue or make profit?
This question you reserve for some time because it is totally digressed from what we are discussing. But do let me know. I will explain to you. It's very simple. I'll explain to you. Yes, Sabiha.
So college fees or school fees would come as revenue?
For school, it is revenue.
Okay, and not for college?
No, for school as well as college, for university.
Yeah. Okay.
Tuition fee for college, for school, for everything will be revenue. Taxes, profits, subsidy. Lokesh Gautam has written. Taxes, how could you say taxes revenue for the government? Yes. For government, it is a revenue. Profit for the company is a revenue. Subsidy that a company receives is a revenue. Correct. So let us come back to the actual topic of discussion, revenue recognition.
So investment that a company
Receives?
Investment, like so from different sources.
How does it receive investment?
Like a startup company receives investment. So can a startup company receives investment. So can we call?
Okay. A startup company, it is not an investment, it is a capital.
Okay.
Isn't it? We have already discussed the concept of expenses.
Yes, we have discussed.
Got it. It is capital. So revenue recognition. Now somebody just before a few minutes asked that I buy a ticket on this date and I travel on a different day. Who asked that question?
It's me, Sharik.
Sharik. Good. Now, from what Sharik asked, from this we can take up this example of revenue recognition. There are several transactions which take place on one date and other things take place on other dates. I'll give you an example. Let us assume that you are working for a company which is into the business of supplying laptops, which is into the business of selling laptops. A university like ours, it wants to distribute laptops to the students, or it wants to buy it for its employees, maybe let us say 5,000 laptops. Usually it will not buy straight away from a shop. What it should do, it will place an ad in the newspaper or some electronic media or some government portal it is interested in buying, so that it gets a good deal. Let us say it puts up an ad in the newspaper that we are interested in buying 5,000 laptops. 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 companies will quote their prices. Naturally, university will specify the configuration, and university will receive quotation from several persons. If we are prepared to supply it for 40,000, somebody can say 41,000, somebody can say 39,000, or somebody can say 55, whatever. University will receive quotations. University will open those quotations, will go for the lowest one, and will place an order. At times, university can give advance also. So your company, suppose it has won the contract, it has won the tender, it will supply a laptop to the university. University will maybe make some part payment or advance payment, and finally university will also pay. And let us further assume, theoretically say, it is not an electronic transfer. University has paid through check. So your company has received the check, and your company has deposited check in its account. The bank has taken money out of university's account and transferred to your company's account. So these are about 8-9 stages, maybe 6-7 stages. I'll repeat: issuing tenders, submitting quotations, getting confirmed order from the university, paying advance to university, supplying rest of the laptop to the university, getting a check from the university, and getting money into your company's account. Out of all these stages, when should your company recognize revenue as having been earned? You have earned the revenue. When? On which date? Or which
Sir,
last
when the amount
last
gets
day.
transferred into the account of the company?
when the amount is transferred in the account of your company. Okay, this is what Adil is saying. Any other answer?
Sir, when sale is recorded.
When sales is recorded. Okay, why don't you do this thing? You all should write your answers in the chat box. Write it immediately, fast. During the class, I asked you several questions. At time, I also asked you to write your response in the chat box. It serves more than one purpose. One purpose is that you are participating in the discussion. You are taking the classes seriously. You are trying to listen to and also providing your input. At times your answer can be better than mine. Secondly, it also helps me deciding, are you really attending to the classes, or you are moving here and there with cell phone in your pocket. There are some good logics or reasons. I went out to buy the milk and my mother has sent me out, and I just went to washroom. All these things are there. So it shows that if you have answered something, that means you are physically as well as mentally present in the class. Now people have written last stage after the goods are, after the payment is processed, after receiving the check, when the tender is passed, when, several answers are written. So we are talking about the revenue recognition. Now let me come back to the question that who asked Hashmi or somebody that Sharik, that you bought the ticket on 25th December and you will fly on 10th January. Airline should consider your purchase of ticket as revenue or not. When should airline consider it as its revenue? 25th December or 10th of January?
Also, sir, if you travel for business purpose, then in matching, what will we do?
Okay. Revenue and expenses, I was saying. Suppose now let me take the example of not airlines, your company. Your company bought a ticket for your travel. So should your company consider 25th December as an expense, or company should consider this as an expense in next accounting year?
Yes, sir.
Take another example. A railway ticket, same thing. You buy prepaid voucher. Several of you must be using prepaid voucher. When you buy prepaid voucher on 25th December and the validity of your voucher is up to 24th of January, so Airtel or Aircel or BSNL, whatever, should they consider it as their revenue for 5 days or for the entire sales that they made?
So entire sales when they made.
Entire sales made.
So can you repeat the question? I was not able to understand it.
The question is, you have subscribed to a prepaid voucher. You have bought a prepaid voucher from Airtel for rupees 30. You bought it on 25th December. So should Airtel consider its revenue rupees 30 or only rupees 5?
So 30 rupees. The voucher was sold for 30 rupees. No?
Voucher was sold for 30 rupees.
The full payment was made on 25th December to the company.
Okay. So voucher, even if the services have not been provided, has Airtel provided you the services for 30 rupees?
So that's the consumer part. For the company,
But the sale has been made.
yes.
But the sale has been made. The day the sale has been made and the amount.
But company's revenue got increased by 30 rupees.
But company gets revenue, but its expenses will be in the second year. So according to matching, both things will be at the same time. So if company sell something, so its revenue, but the services providing the company.
Let me ask. Okay. I mean, this is all giving you some food for thought. This is all giving you something to discuss about. Let me ask one more question. There are popular business magazines like India Today or Femina or Filmfare or whatever, and you subscribe them. If you buy one magazine, it will cost you 100 rupees. If you buy, let us say, 12 magazines, it will cost you 100 rupees, not 1200 rupees. If you subscribe it for a period of 5 years, they may give you further discount, and you can get it for 75. Say you decided to subscribe it for a period of 5 years, and a company has charged from you 4,000 rupees. You paid 4,000 rupees, and company has promised to deliver you this magazine for 5 years. So entire 4,000 rupees should be considered as revenue by the company, or proportionate. Company should divide this 4,000 rupees by 5, and yearly that amount should be considered as revenue, and remaining amount something else. What should the company do?
Sir, if there is
company should divide it.
Sir, it should be divided
Because
by.
inflation.
In the same year.
Sir, there might be a provision for cancellation too, no?
I have got 2 years, but I can listen only from 1. So let people raise their hand, or maybe let people write in the chat box. Entire 4,000 or proportionate? Divide by 5. Okay, you have divide को भी तुमने गलत divide कर दिया भाई. DEVAID नहीं है. Proportionate, entire, proportionate. एक दूसरे का देख के मत लिखो, जो तुम्हारा दिल कहता हो वो लिखो. Entire, proportionate. Everyone should write whatever he or she feels like proposing. Now let me tell you. What is the revenue? I had explained to you before.
Sale of goods or services.
So what a company gets after selling goods.
Okay. Or after rendering a service.
Rendering any services.
Rendering any consultation fees or tuition fees or classes. I mean, I haven't taken the classes, etc. Law says that recognize revenue when there is a reasonable certainty of return in consideration. When there is a reasonable certainty of return in consideration. So if you claim in the earlier example that once the check is received or once the check is recorded in our account, that is not correct. The moment a company is reasonably certain, seller, because we are talking revenue, is reasonably certain that they will get the money, they will consider it as their revenue. Suppose in my case, university pays me salary every month. I have to file my income tax return, I have to pay taxes. And suppose university has not paid me the salary for 3, 4, 5 months. So the amount which university has not paid, should I include in my income for the purpose of filing tax return, or I should not?
Yes, sir.
I should.
Because you have earned the income.
I have earned the income, I have not received. So receiving and earning are two different things. If you have earned, it doesn't matter that you have received or not, you will pay taxes on that. So in routine business transactions, what is that situation? When a company has raised invoice. In real life, what happens? Companies, after delivering the goods, they raise invoice. When they raise invoice, they mention that so and so goods have been sent to you, and with that invoice, many a times they attach a receipt which your company issues to them. Okay, we have received goods in good working conditions. So the moment invoice is raised, it is considered as revenue having been earned. Similarly, the moment you have provided goods to somebody, you consider sales, and the moment somebody has received, considered as an expense without actually making payment. Payment can be made after 1 day, after 2 months, after 10 months, after 1 year, after 2 years, doesn't matter. So it will be university will consider my salary as an expense, although it has not paid. Similarly, I will consider it as my income, although I have not received. I may receive next year, I may receive after 1 day, 1 month, 2 months. That is the situation. So revenue recognition concept states you recognize the revenue even if you have not received money, but you are reasonably certain that you will. And just opposite to it can be applied to expenses. Okay.
So just a question.
Yes.
So like banks cut the money on different transactions, so that can be considered a part of revenue for the bank as well?
Definitely it is. You must have read in the newspapers that government is started, attracting people to open zero balance account.
Yes, sir.
And the bank started charging money from the people if their balance was really zero for maintenance account. And some close to 300 crores rupees were collected by the bank on account of these charges. You and me do not feel the pinch of it because it is 5, 10, 20 rupees. But when 5, 10, 20 rupees are accumulated, it becomes 300 crores. So whatever bank deducts from your account, it is a revenue because it is providing you for services. Every 3 months or every 6 months, maybe at every year, it differs from bank to bank. You must be receiving a message from the bank, SMS charges.
Yes, sir.
It deducts 100 rupees, 170 rupees, 190 depending on the bank. So this 190, 170, whatever is the amount, is a revenue for the bank, and for you it is an
expense.
Expense. So this is what.
As well as, sir, while making like a bank allowed that you can make 5 transactions, or you can
Yes, if you exceed,
take money.
yes, if you exceed 5 transactions in a month, the bank deducts something from your account. It is a source of revenue for the company and source for a head of expense for the individuals or for the companies.
Even sir, in online payment, like if you are making an online payment from a bank, from an app like UPI, from a Paytm or to a different app, then in that case also the bank deducts money.
Whatever is there, it is a source of revenue. Now, if there are no more questions on revenue recognition, I'll explain the next one, accrual or cash.
Sir, I'm sorry, but I have a little question. You said that in the case of expenses, we use the exact opposite approach. So it means that at the moment when the invoice is generated, the revenue would be recorded for the supplying company, but the buyer would still not have recorded an expense for itself.
Buyer will record the moment buyer receives the invoice. The moment buyer receives the invoice, you generate invoice today and suppose send it by post.
Ji.
All right.
Yes.
So you have generated invoice on 11th of January. Buyer is receiving on 7th of January. 12th or 13th or 15th of January.
Ji.
So buyer will record it as an expense on
15th of January.
And you will record it as your revenue, because before recording any transaction, there has to be a documentary evidence.
Ji.
What is the documentary evidence?
The invoice. Yes, sir.
When you make payment, documentary evidence is the check copy or maybe receipt that you issue.
Yes, sir.
In today's world, there is unique transaction record. UTR is there. The UTR is taken as a basis of recording the transaction.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Somebody wrote, if we charge our mobile for 1 year, then it will record yearly or quarterly. If you are charging your mobile for a year for an expenses, you will record it for the entire year. It is all related to periodicity. If the payment spills over to the next accounting year, Dushyant has posted a question. You all may be seeing in your chat box. If we recharge your mobile for 1 year, now when you say 1 year, is starting from which date to which date? Mention this one also, Dushyant. We have charged your mobile for 1 year. Write down starting from which date to which date and what is your accounting year. Are you around, Dushyant? Oh, yeah, सवाल लिख के 1st January to 31st December. And if you have recharged it on 1st January, then nothing to be done. Perfectly, entire money can be recorded. But if this transaction took place from 1st July to next June, then half will be recorded in this account year and half will be recorded in the next accounting year according to matching. Okay, then accrual and cash, they are just extension of revenue recognition. Accrual is a system wherein you record the transaction the moment transaction is taking place without waiting for the money to be received or paid. And cash is a system wherein you record the transaction only when the cash or check is received or paid. But nowadays,
can you please repeat that?
I'll do that. In case of accrual, the transactions are recorded the moment transaction is considered as complete. Like bill is raised, invoice is raised. In case of cash system, transactions used to be recorded at the time of actually receiving money or actually paying money. But nowadays, nobody records the business transaction on cash basis. Everybody is recording on accrual basis. Earlier on, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, especially in the government setup, transactions were recorded on cash basis. Especially from the government, in the government setup, they were recording transactions on cash basis. Now all of them have migrated to accrual system. The records are being maintained on accrual basis. That is, they are recording their revenue and recording their expenses as and when transaction is taking place or transaction is completed. That is the accrual or cash basis. Then we have another concept, cost. This states that record a transaction at a cost which you have incurred and nothing to do with its real value of the transaction. Real value of transaction could be more or could be less, but recorded at the cost which we have incurred in undertaking the transaction or in entering into the transaction. Let us say you buy a building for 1 crore. You will record it at 1 crore. That's it. Now the market value of building in the eyes of someone else could be more than 1 crore or could be less than 1 crore. All right. What will happen in the next year? The same building will be recorded at 1 crore minus usual depreciation. Let us say 10%. This theoretically I am saying it is not actually 10%. Let us say it is 10%. So next year in your financial statements, what should be the value of building?
90 lakhs.
90 lakh. Very true. What will be the building's value in next year?
81 lakh.
80 lakh. Or let us say 10 lakh every year. So 80 lakh, 70, 60, something like. What will be the value of building at the end of 10th year?
Zero. Would it nullify then?
Zero. Okay. Let us say at the end of 9th year it will be 10 lakh. You all agreed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So your books are showing a value of 10 lakh. What will be the real value of building at the end of 9th year? Less than 10 lakh, more than 10 lakh.
Way more, to be honest.
Less than 10 lakh.
Less than 10 lakh. Real value.
More than.
It would be way more than 10 lakh.
No, sir. Way more than.
Sir, way more than.
Yes. You are all right. Way more than 10 lakh. It could be even 10 crores.
Yes,
isn't it?
Because on land
Yes,
it
sir.
will be appreciation.
Okay, on land there will be appreciation. How about building?
Obviously for building also it will be appreciation.
So the chances would be, okay, how much will be the cost of building? Sorry, value of building at that point in time?
Sir, it may be around 20 lakh or 20 crore, it depends.
So it depends. It cannot be directly calculated without knowing the actual cost of the material at that stage and all the cost of included.
Okay, if I ask, don't write it, but I'm just theoretically asking. If I ask all 68 of you present in the class to write one value of that building, whatever is be your basis, you decide on your own. I don't interfere. You decide. So the possibility is that I will have as many as 68 answers. Am I
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Through this, we are coming to explaining you the word cost concept. If we start recording the value of any asset, so value is something which is perception based, isn't it? Somebody may say 10 crore,
Yes,
like
sir.
you have said. Somebody can say 15, somebody can say 5, somebody can say 6. One reason. Another reason, the value goes under change or undergoes changes several times in a year. Maybe every day it can change 2-3 times. And if you continue recording every time it changes, that you will be in the business of recording transactions only, leaving your main business. There are several reasons which I can point out. Now, I asked you earlier on that do remind me when we reach this concept. Do you remember?
Geophone.
Yes. Now, tell me, hold on, leave this discussion here for a few minutes and tell me what is the goodwill of Aligarh Muslim University? Does it have goodwill or not?
Yes, sir. It
Yes,
has.
sir.
How much?
Yes, sir.
How much? 1,000 rupees, 1 crore, or 10 crore?
So it is in crores.
How much? How many? 100 crore?
Sir, around 20 crores.
ओके आप भाई चलो हसन आरिफ कह रहे हैं 20 करोड़ और कोई बताए
Sir, it must be recorded in the books of the university.
जी दोबारा कहिए
Sir, it must be recorded in the books of the university.
आप ये करिए सब लोग यूनिवर्सिटी की बैलेंस शीट देखिए पिछले 5 सालों की और देखिए उसमें गुडविल है या नहीं नोट इट डाउन यू ऑल विल गो थ्रू दी financial statements of the university and see in the past 5 years how much goodwill has it recorded in it.
Goodwill can't be calculated.
Calculated sir directly.
तो क्या मतलब यूनिवर्सिटी में आपके ख्याल से बैलेंस शीट में गुडविल होगी कि नहीं होगी?
No, sir.
नो, तो फिर आप कैसे कह रहे हैं 200 करोड़ नहीं होगी? आप कह रहे हैं गुडविल नहीं होगी।
So only university knows its goodwill.
यूनिवर्सिटी क्या है?
University is an organization.
Institution.
What is university? University is represented by its stakeholders, and you are one of the important stakeholders. तो आपको नहीं पता कि आप जिसकी एंटिटी को जो एंटिटी आपको रिप्रेजेंट कर रही है वो उसकी गुडविल है या नहीं है? अच्छा,
The goodwill exists. It certainly has some goodwill, which is in terms of its
Okay. What is it? Tell me what it is.
Maybe some good ranking.
अरे भाई कितनी है वो तो बताइए। 10 करोड़ है, 1000 करोड़ है, 0 है, नेगेटिव है, कितनी है?
So it cannot be calculated.
Can't be counted in terms of money, sir.
So depending on the structure of the university and how much goodwill it has, we can calculate. But right now, on like the basis, considering the basis of goodwill, cannot be calculated.
First, like
अगली क्लास कब से फिर
100 acres of land for some good things.
तो स्टार्ट क्यों नहीं की तुमने अपनी क्लास? तुमको हर क्लास के लिए अलग-अलग से हम ही लोग याद दिलाएंगे।
एकड़ जो लैंड मिला है उसको गुडविल कहेंगे आप?
No, sir, donate. If university donates.
If university
For
donates,
some good purpose.
University donates, or someone donates to university.
No, sir. If university donates, then maybe it would be counted as goodwill. It is for a change in the society.
इसको लिंक भेजो और इस पे स्टार्ट करो मसला।
Sir, goodwill is intangible asset and can't be calculated.
तो जितने मतलब जो रिप्यूटेड पर्सनालिटीज यहाँ से पास आउट हुई हैं तो वो भी तो मतलब गुडविल के अंदर ही आना चाहिए ना, जैसे नसरुद्दीन शाह है,
मैंने आपसे सवाल किया कितने रुपए की है वो? कैन यू सी व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट दिस थिंग, डू यू रिमेंबर money measurement concept? Something which can be measured in terms of money can be recorded, and something which cannot be measured in money cannot be recorded. तो अगर आप पर्सनालिटीज की बात कर रहे हैं, नसीरुद्दीन शाह की बात करिए, कितने रुपए लिखे हैं उसके? फिर जावेद अख्तर के कुछ रुपए लिखिए, है नहीं बहुत सारे लोग,
तो फिर सर वो खरबों में आएंगे।
हाँ, तो कितने हो जाएंगे बताइए?
Sir, in case of sale of university,
sale of university. Okay, can it be sold to somebody?
No, sir. It's the government.
No, sir. How can you?
It's a central government property. Can't be sold.
देखिए, something.
Unless,
Okay. I am posting a question. Listen to the question also and read it also. Look at the balance sheet of any 5 companies of your choice. Look at the balance sheet of any 5 companies of your choice. Note down the amount of goodwill mentioned in its balance sheet. Note down the amount of goodwill mentioned in its balance sheet. If goodwill does not appear, still mention that goodwill is not there. Still mention no goodwill. Okay, no goodwill. What you are expected to do now, you just do it on your own and keep its record. That is, you have visited, name the companies, and against each company write the amount or nil. If it is not clear, I'll post it. I'll create a small assignment on Google Classroom. Complete it. I am leaving this discussion now. I am not completing it intentionally. I could have completed another 2-3 sentences or another 1 or 2 minutes, but there's a reason for leaving this discussion incomplete. Once you do it, I'll be able to explain that more. So for the time being, I'll leave this one, and unless there are some other question on concept I have explained before, ask. If not, then I'll move on to, we hardly have time. I'll explain to you things related to that later. But if there is anything else, you can ask a question. We'll continue with the duality concept later.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So when you were explaining us the term revenue recognition, you gave an example of a magazine subscription for about 5 years. So again, you asked us the question that when would it be recorded in the accounting books? But it was for a duration of 5 years. So when are we actually going to record it? When we raise the invoice, or are we going to proportion? Are we going to record it proportionately?
Okay. What you have asked, just one, give me a second. What you have asked is a question which has real life application. The entire idea of the class is to equip you with the concept which you are able to apply in real life. Merely knowing a concept has no value. In my eyes, it is zero, unless we know how should it be applied in real life, isn't it? Now you have asked a question that we raised an invoice for, a commitment of selling a magazine for 5 years, or let us say 5,000 rupees and 5 years. Simple calculations. For how much, what amount should be considered as a revenue in this current accounting year? This is the question. Okay. What should be the amount? Can anyone answer?
So 1,000.
1,000.
Yes, very true. 1/5 should be the. So you have received 5,000 rupees. So 1,000 you have considered as revenue. What will you consider remaining 4,000?
Expected profit.
Which is advance sales rate.
Accrued income. What will this be in terms of asset, capital, liability, expense, and revenue?
Sir.
Some liability.
It would be a liability.
Liability.
So you have got asset for rupees 5,000 in the form of cash. You have revenue in the form of 1,000, and you have liability in the form of 4,000. Isn't it? So this is how. So what the question that you have asked, Arma, this is how it will be proceeded in the coming class. And now it is already 8:51. Parvesa must be waiting, so you can leave the class and join another class.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.